Alrighty, we are live. We are live for the last session. Who is here with me? Let me see in the comment that you are here live with me. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Ijoma Vivian Ani, and I'm the founder of the Proactive Parents Academy and the convener of the Proactive Parents Conference. So over the past 4 years, we have hosted the Proactive Parents Conference, and it's been from grace to grace, from glory to glory, from increase to increase. This is another year we have accessed God's grace, we have accessed God's mercy, we have accessed God's love in another dimension, bringing in 6 days 18 speakers speaking on different things, on different aspects, on different dimensions, all bordering on parenting. Amazing. I have shared it over and again that on this mountain, God will be serving a banquet that every human who wants to really be more and wants to also be conscious of your planting, of your rooting, and of your uprooting will want to be here. Thank you again for joining us in this last session. It's such an honor to have all of you. It's my pleasure to welcome everyone back to this banquet. It is a banquet of knowledge. It is a banquet of knowledge, and it has been served in the past 6 years. Our moderator is here, and we have waited for her over the past few minutes so we can commence the session. Thank you so much for joining me, Jane. I've already taken up the stage. Can you hear me, Jane?
I can hear you. I'm so sorry. I can hear you, ma'am.
Yes. So, Jane, in this session, I wanted to say in 1 second, say something about the Build Your Home Tribe before I hit the ground running. Jane is the parent of the tribe, and I want her to say something in this stream. Let's hear from you, please.
Hello, everyone. I welcome you back to the bottom part of this conference. I'm a full-time member of the Build Your Home Tribe. You see, I can't use 1 second to say what Build Your Home Tribe has done for me. Like I can write a book about it. Yeah, Build Your Home Tribe has helped me with. Sorry, it's okay, Zara. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. So, Build Your Home Tribe has improved my self-esteem. I understand self-esteem, and I understand if I'm not doing things right, what it can do to my children. The whole purpose of everything we are doing, trying to be more, is to raise children that will thrive in the society. And if their self-esteem has been damaged, they are going to have crisis. So this is just the one straight line of what Build a Home Tribe has done for me, teaching me how to boost the self-confidence of my children, their self-worth, their self-esteem, and many more other bonuses that comes with it. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
thank you,
Jane.
my fellow triber.
Thank you so much for that review. Unfortunately, many of the videos for the review will be posted in our channel because we couldn't post them during the sessions in the conference or during the conference, right? So we're going to be sharing them individually in our community and in the channel. So thank you so much for taking up the stage today and moderating for us. The next time we'll be seeing you, you will come up to ask the questions that we need to ask, right? So I'll kick off the session, and let's hit the ground running. Make sure you invite everyone in your circle and let them be in this session. This is the bottom part, like Jane have already said. So thank you, Jane.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
All right. So I was saying that this session is about conclusion of what have been taught to us, shared from the well of knowledge of different people, speaking from different angles of parenting, right? We are just coming back to say, use all of these things to put together and conclusively agree that we need to be more. And in being more, we must watch out for what we are planting, what we are rooting, and what we are uprooting. And also begin our journey from what has been planted in the past, what has been rooted in the past, and what needs to be uprooted. And well, in the course of trying to say that, I said all the speakers are saying the same thing. All the speakers are speaking to the same thing. All the speakers want us to understand the dynamics of being more. And all of them have shared extensively. I have been at the background, I've been taking notes since Sunday till today. And I will tell you that it's been an amazing, amazing journey. So I'll be speaking also conclusively to the theme of this year's conference. Be more. Planting, rooting, and uprooting. I ask the Holy Spirit of God to speak to us. I have the Holy Spirit to flow. Let Him take preeminence. Let us hear Him in this session like we've heard in other sessions. Let there be a transformation by Him. And let us receive light. Light that will awaken our minds and our hearts. Because there's a lot to be done. And Jesus will say that the harvest is full, but the laborers are few. Right? So the word be more is not just what we crafted, it is something that was given to us, and because it was given to us, that's why I have prayed this prayer that the Holy Spirit, who is our teacher and our guide, takes over, and then let the transformation begin through Him, in the name of Jesus Christ. So, we want to start by saying that this word, be more, like I've said, I use it all the time. Everybody uses be this, be that, be. But in the course of my coaching and in the course of my profession in the family life system, it is one of the words I am very intentional about. Be positive, be courageous. I say it as a human being personally, and I say it during the coaching sessions. I use it in the home. I tell the children, I tell everybody around me, be is something that I have taken personal in my life, right? I use it all the time. So while I was praying and asking God, what do we do in this conference? How do we harness this year? What do you want us to talk about? What do you want us to? In the course of seeking God's face in the throne of God, I heard be more, right? Not just the BBB that I will always use. I heard be more. And of course, in being more, I needed to seek what being more needs or has to be in the dynamics of being more. So the theme of this year's conference, be more, planting, rooting, and uprooting, is something I want to speak to this evening in our very shortest time, because I realized that while the conference was going on, every speaker touched everything that I have to say today. Every speaker touched it. Every speaker spoke on one angle or the other, maybe not verbatim, but similarly, they spoke on everything. So I'm just going to be doing a conclusion in the next few minutes. And I want us to realize that at creation, God created us to be. God created us to be. With the word of His mouth, He created everything. Let there be light. Let there be this. Let there be that. Let there be that. And if you read that scripture in Genesis 3, you will find how God just brought everything to light with be. Right? And in the course of creating us, He didn't just say, let there be a human being, let there be a man, let there be a woman. Rather, he went further because this one is now the one that is coming from his image. And that's why the scripture recorded that at that time of creation, when it came to human being, he said, let us make them. Let us make this image. Let this image be like us. Let us make this one, this particular one, after we have made all others. We called them to life and they came. But this one, this particular creation, we need to make this particular creation to be in the image of God and God's likeness. That's what that scripture wants to extensively make us understand. We are not just creatures. We are creatures that are God, that were formed in God's image and likeness. What that means is that God created every one of us for and with a purpose, right? And he wants us to live in the fulfillment of that purpose. He wants us to become all that he had intended for us from creation. So we realize that, yes, we are not living to that expectation of God. There's a reason for that. And in this few minutes where we are conclusively harnessing all of this topic, you will find out why, right? Daily, we intentionally walk in the journey of becoming. And either ways, whether we are walking intentionally to become or unintentionally in the place of not becoming, which we may not even know, there's a journey. In the journey of becoming, which is the core message of this conference, in the journey of becoming, in the journey of being more, which is the core message, right? We are growing. We are learning. In becoming, it is a process. It is a journey. You don't just wake up and become. Nobody wakes up and becomes. It is a journey. So whether you are intentionally going through that journey or you are unintentionally going through that journey, because all of us are already on the journey. The difference is, are you intentionally walking the journey or unintentionally walking through the journey? Right? That's the difference. But as for the journey, every one of us is already on that journey. And if you're intentionally walking through that journey, you will realize that you are growing because you are intentional about that journey of becoming. You realize that you're learning. Jane just finished saying something, in the introductory message about the tribe. And she said it has helped her to become someone who is deliberate with her self-confidence. And because of that journey of becoming, that intentional journey of becoming, she is also intentionally walking that journey so that her growth will rub off on her children. That's what the journey is about. So that our growth will rub off. So that our limitation will not limit our children because we do not or we are not intentional about the journey. So when you become intentional about this journey, you will realize that it is a journey of growth. It is a journey of learning. It is a journey of unlearning. And it's a journey of relearning. If you have been learning, it will become a journey of relearning. So becoming is a journey is not a journey of destination. It is a journey of seasons. Seasons. We are growing in different seasons. We are growing in different times, right? That's what the journey of becoming is about. You are the one who is taking your children on this journey, just like your parents are taking you through your own journey. But you need to figure out these phases, these seasons, these different dynamics as it matters to you. You need to be the one to figure out. So if you do not realize, for instance, you are in the phase where your babies or your children are toddlers, for instance, and you do not realize that this is the time to invest in building connection with your toddler baby, and you take up other frivolities that take up your 1 minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes that you would have given those babies, Toddler age will never come back. So you missed it at toddler age, for instance. It is you who will figure out that this season has passed. I need to focus on the next season and begin to work so that this next season, probably at the preteen ages where you are not missing out on the things you're supposed to have laid the foundation earlier before that time. So in this journey, you are the one to figure out the different times, the different seasons, and walk through those seasons intentionally. This is why I tell parents also that until you walk the journey of self-discovery, you may never realize that seasons are going away. Those seasons are fast going for the children. Whether you are intentional or not, your children are growing daily. The children are growing daily and they are learning daily. Just the way you too, you are learning, growing. The children are also learning and growing. A speaker, I think the last speaker yesterday, or is it today? Yesterday, called Jola Grace. She talked about the 0 to 7 age of the children, where the children are internalizing things. And these are the most critical stages and critical ages and critical seasons of the children's life. So if we do not understand that this journey is a journey of seasons, you will miss out on different phases. You will miss out on different seasons. So the journey of becoming, both for you and your child and everyone around you, is a journey of seasons, is a journey of phases, right? And we must realize this. And if you do not understand that this journey is a journey of self-discovery in those seasons, where you authentically unravel yourself, not the masked, M-A-S-K-E-D, not the masked self, where we have lived over decades, donkeys of years, you have lived unauthentically and have started raising your own children unauthentically. If you don't understand that this journey is also a journey that will expose you to discoveries, then you're going to be missing out on this, because your emotions of the past will continue to tussle you. That's the truth. Your emotions will continue to work on the past. Your emotions will continue to work on the things that happened in the past, and you will never be in that right frame of mind to walk in the seasons authentically. The past will continually interrupt what you want to do in the future. You know that you are not where you're supposed to be. You know that you're not where you're supposed to, you're not doing the things you're supposed to be doing. You know that you're not living authentically. However, you cannot help yourself to start living in the right dimension, because the past, the emotions of the past will continue to break in between and come in between the bridges of what you want to do. So today our focus is on being more, to awaken, to inspire, to transform us, like I've said earlier, so that in this journey we can critically embrace these elements. These 3 elements, acronyms that we have used in adding to be more, which is the planting, the rooting, and the uprooting, right? So I want us to follow me on this journey in this next few minutes to understand that it is not a journey where we can just on our own, figure it out. It is a journey where we need our Creator and ourselves. Because many times we realize that you just look at issues of life, look at the problems, look at the challenges, and some of those challenges are eating deep, like they are deep-seated issues that our past have also marked us with. In different times, you must go through different things in this life, as long as you live in this flesh. And so you get to a point where some of these issues, you're just like, okay, God, just figure it out. If you want, do it. If you don't want, we no longer, like, we're not even curious. We no longer pray or think about it like the things that we need to work on to be able to get to the root of these issues. right? And these issues will begin to tussle our mind, like I said, with the emotions of the past. Now, when we do or have that, come to that place where we just, okay, God, you can just figure it out and do what you want. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of that. You see that somehow those things don't get sorted because God needs us. He needs us in that journey to work out all the things that we need. He wants us to, live and fulfill. He needs us to work with him on that journey. So when you step back, no magic is going to happen. No miracle is going to happen. You need God to work with you on that terrain. And we will be taking a reflection that will help us understand from Romans 12:2. The scripture said that we must be transformed, being transformed through the renewal of our mind. I want us to understand. I want us to follow me on this journey so that we see where the work is, right? We need to walk a journey that helps us come out through the renewal of our mind. You are the only one that will be the one-stop person that will stop your growth. No other person will stop your growth. No other person will stop or hunt your growth except you. Right? That place where God wants you to live, that potential, everything in you that is embedded in you, it is only you who can stop that growth. And because it is only you, that's why we want to start and continue this conversation with a question. Like I've said, self-discovery is at the core. In fact, that is our core in the tribe. And that should be the core of every human being. Because the moment your mind is messed up with a lot of things, you cannot dig deep. And the essence of this conference is for us to dig deep. For us not to take it on the periphery. For us to understand that the things that are stopping us are deep-rooted issues. And these deep-rooted issues did not sit deep-rooted in 1 day or 1 year or 5 years. It has been something we have lived our life, all our life. Follow me. So, what have been planted in your life? What have been a deep-rooted thing that have been planted over the past 30 years of your life? You just grew, you were just born and you started hearing them. You started seeing them. You started, that's the thing you see, that's the thing you, actually Okutepa just finished saying that the adult that is in a child's life is impressionable, like that's the person you mirror again. So there are things that have been planted all your life, 30 years of your life, 35 years, 40 years of your life. You just open your eye as a child and start seeing them. These are the impressions that have been staying and have been rooted and have been deep-seated all your life. So it is you who will figure out what has been planted, what has been rooted, and what are you rooting now, intentionally or unintentionally. There are things that you are rooting in your children now. You will figure it out in this conference. You will figure it out after this conference, because I said after this conference, we'll begin another phase of the journey where we will be challenging us, in the various groups to look at the things that we are planting, look at the things we are rooting, look at the things that we are uprooting or should be uprooted that we are not uprooting. Because we will be impressionable with the ones that have been planted in the past, rooted in the past, and probably have not been uprooted, right? So, we need to understand that this journey is a huge one. It is not just a one-stop journey. Ephesians 4:11, Paul talking about the giftings, Paul talking about the dimensions of people that are used in the church. He talked about some are apostles, some are prophets, some are evangelists, some are pastors, some are teachers. And today, speaking to you as a teacher and a coach who not only teaches but take people through a process of coaching to help people unravel themselves and understand their journey, I want you to understand that this session basically will help you understand you. The session we are having now, where we are speaking to the team, be more planting, rooting, and uprooting, will help you to understand you. It is you we are dealing with. It is you we are talking about, right? And until you understand you, no solution can work for you. No solution, no amount of things proffered or amount of things you have heard in these 6 days will mean anything to you because you don't know you. It is the you that unravels in your self-discovery journey. Like Coach Jola shared yesterday, remember I said that every speaker has touched everything I want to see. In this team that I chose to speak on, every speaker hinted something that I have already put down for myself in this session. That's to tell you that when we sorted from the throne what we need to talk about, God beautifully crafted every one of us to put together this thing, and that's why everybody is saying or speaking to the team. So until you understand you will continue to repeat patterns. You will continue to struggle. You will continue to repeat the things without even knowing it. Remember, something has been planted over the 30 years of your life, over the 40 years of your life. There's a thing that you have heard over and again, you have seen over and again, you have experienced over and again. Your everything has been revolved around it, and we call it programming in parenting. So in these years of your life that these things have been programmed, if you do not unravel you will repeat the same pattern. You will repeat the same thing. You will plant the same thing that have been planted. You will root the same thing that have been rooted. I think one of the coaches yesterday, yes, Alex, he was the one that talked about suicide ideation, was the person who was saying as a therapist that 80% of the way we raise children are the exact way we were raised. Research proved it. 80%. Until you walk a journey of you will not understand that there's a change that needs to be made. If you had listened to all the speakers who have talked about trauma yesterday, Coach Jola, Coach Alex, even Adejon spoke a little about it. If you had listened to all of them, you will see that you were traumatized will not make you not to like your parents or love your parents or repeat what they did. No. Victims victimize others. And you become a replica of your victim. Like, you're no longer seeing it like it's because it's something you started having experiences of it from when you were small. So you will get attached to even the victim. That's why you see that people who are victims in different, dimension of trauma, they cannot pull out. They get attached. They stay there. They don't even know that they need help. The reason is simple. A victim stays because the pattern replicates what he or she had known all his life. Right? And it is on that note I want us to look at these simple analogies. Right? These simple analogies where number one is going to be addressing the things. I broke them down in 3 different phases, but this phase we are going to just be addressing how do we understand how to navigate the journey and the process of self-discovery. You need to look inward, and through looking inward, renew your mind. And how do we look inward? What are you seeing? What are you seeing from your past, from the way you were raised, from the things you heard, from the experiences, from the things you saw growing up? What are the things you are seeing, hearing, and all that? While you look inward, you sit down to make a review of these things. How do you think? What is your thought process? I had a session this morning, and a parent that was in that session was telling me that one of the things she knows about herself is that It's negative thoughts that is always coming up to her mind. Do you know whether this thing will work? Do you know that it is coming from the way we were raised? We had heard it over and again. Leave that in. All those things it will not work. Where we keep hearing our parents, our caregivers, all the people that were the primary caregivers around us growing up, they kept saying, "You think you can do it? Remove your hand from that place. Don't go and scatter everything. And don't go and pour. You will pour water there. You cannot. You cannot." So that limiting belief of you cannot have rung in our head all our life. You won't just grow up and it will leave you one day. It's a lie. And the bad thing about these things is that as a child, you may not know that they meant anything. As an adult, you see damages all everywhere. You keep hearing those thoughts, those limiting beliefs, those things that makes you feel less of yourself. That's why the sin is sticking to you. You can't be more living with constantly repeating patterns, constantly living in limited beliefs, constantly living in limitations. You can never, ever be more. And the only solution to being more in this dimension is that you have to sit down to do a check of you. What has been planted? That's a question you must ask yourself. What has been rooted? What do we need to uproot? If you don't do that, you will never even know that you're already in crisis. Right? You will never ever know. Any action you take, number two, any action you take in this journey of trying to understand being more was propelled by a belief system. Or there's a belief behind it. Any action you see yourself taking, any action you see yourself believing, anything you see yourself feeling you can or you cannot, there's a belief system that programmed you, that programmed your upbringing, that was planted in you, that is making you take that action. For instance, in this part of the world, okay, Kojolaji Grace, let me use her example where she was saying yesterday, both of you as couples came back from work, you were stuck in the traffic, all of you are hungry, and then somebody is saying, as you're serving him food, you need to kneel down, you need to do this. That's the way we do it. We are Africans. The person is not just saying it because he's a man or he's the husband or something. He is saying it because the belief system that raised him programmed that, planted that in him. So he had all his life heard his father say, a woman can do this, this will not do this, a woman will not try this, not under me, this and that. If you went to if you sat in the traffic the whole day, so what? And so, are you the only person that every woman must kneel down to? That thing was a seed planted. That thing was a belief system. He's not just coming, he didn't grow in an environment of empathy or compassion where he's coming and saying, oh my goodness, all of us are tired, she's tired, she has not even arrived, let me start doing X, Y, Z before she arrives. He will not do it because a belief system that program is says, we're African, we're African men, we don't. How will I'm the man? This is a belief system. So that belief system would keep you stuck. And then he who is repeating that pattern, his own son, who is 3, 4, 5, will start hearing him saying things like that. Another person is being programmed again. Another seed is being planted again. Are you seeing the sequence of the pattern? That's why it's not just a walk on a park. It is something you must be intentional to do the work as you journey. No amount of I know what to do, I'm the mother of the child or I'm the father of the child will help you. That's why I say that intentions are good, but intentionality does not solve your problem. If you do not add knowledge, if you do not add what you need to know. And that's why the scripture said, my people perish not because they're not praying, not because they didn't have that good intention. Every parent have good intentions for the record. Every parent. So all the things we say, I will not repeat the way my daddy did it or the way my mother did it, forget it. you get to that same point and you see this pattern repeating verbatim. Not because you didn't have good intention. You too, you wanted, or you want it because you are the one who was at a young age saying, no, I will never try this thing my mommy was doing or my daddy was doing. I won't dare it with my children. But suddenly you see yourself struggling. That's because it is a deep-seated issue. You need to walk a journey of knowledge to be able to come out of it. It is not just your wishes. If what is your wishes, you already know the answer, right? So everything that you do with your children right now, you're already planting. You are already planting. Remember, something was planted in you, something was rooted in you, something needs to be uprooted that may not have been uprooted. And now you are in the system where you're raising another human, right? You are already doing something, whether intentional or not. You're already planting, you're already rooting, and probably uprooting, right? So whatever you're doing now is taking the same process. And the next thing that will show is the perception of which you are planting those things. The belief system that you're using to plant those things. What will happen? The results, the report card is what you're going to be seeing after a few number of years. Research shows that between 0 to 7 or 0 to 7 and 7.5 or something around 7 and 8, everything plays like a video in the heads of our children, in the minds of our children. That's why my work with parents of young children is not something you need, like, it's not something you need to like ask, should I be or should I not be in the tribe? It's not. It's something you need to like know that you're already late. Already late in the sense that it should start even before you get into the system of parenting. Even before you get into the system of parenting. That journey should have started. Right? In 0 to 7, everything plays like a video. An unedited video. Unedited video. That's what research shows. We are human beings. Our brain does not know edit. Our brain does not know delete button. Everything plays like that. It flows. Right? Our experiences flows. Everything that happened to you as a child, you remember it verbatim. But the one that happened yesterday, if they tell you to come and explain, or you may not even remember. But you can tell the story of what happened to you when you were at 7, 8, 9, 10. That's because that age, oh my goodness, I wish we know what that age is about, what that age of our children means. And we will never ever joke with these sensitive developmental ages. Right? So it becomes a thing. All the things that we are planting now, especially if your children are still that age 0 to 7, all the things that we are planting now, all the things that we are rooting now, they are seated and they are going to sit with them for life. Except they also wake up tomorrow to start walking a journey of healing where they begin to uproot some things. Otherwise, if you do not want to raise an adult who will start all over to work on himself or herself, look for therapy sessions, look for, my God, how did I get to this point? Do not allow the things you're planting and rooting today become a thing they will struggle to come out of this identity, because all the things you're planting and rooting is already giving them an identity. Remember, we talked about programming. It's already giving them an identity. Everything becomes an operating manual. That's the manual they will run their life with. All the things that we are planting, all the things that we are rooting, you are already giving them a manual to run their life with. A few days ago, my 7-year-old, the oldest in the house, the older sister was running temperature. She could not do anything and all that. His elder brother had gone, for his classes. And he asked me, what is our lunch? I said, the lunch is actually soup, but I don't know how we're going to do it since your sister is running temperature. And He just said, okay, let him start now. Let him start. If she gets up and before I could come out, I was preparing the session, getting the links, creating the links for the speakers for the day. I was inside. I was in my room. I didn't want them to, disturb me and all that. So before I could come out, this boy in fact, I videoed all the process of what he was doing. He didn't even know. This boy had washed the okra, put it in the sieve the way we put it, started cutting the okra, did everything. And you know what he told me? Mommy, please, I don't want you to get stressed. Focus on your sessions. Focus on the conference. Let me focus in the kitchen. My God, I had good simple. I had good simple because I realized what the power of an operating system, the power of an operating manual. What are the operating system and operating manuals you're handing over to your children you're planting today? Are they in that environment of compassion, empathy can thrive, where they see the next person and they want to help out, they want to take responsibility, they want to show that, no, one person shouldn't struggle and kill himself in one thing. And then he just said, Mommy, be telling me he had not cooked before. He only does small things. And he said, Mommy, be telling me what I'll put first water. He was barely, not seeing the gas and everything, but that guy cooked that okra soup. That guy cooked a full pot of okra soup that the family used. So I was seated and said, if he makes the mistake, even though we start at 8, but chance and opportunity have created an avenue for him to do it at 7. He turned 7 in April. I said, okay, even though if he does it, whatever he does, we will get it the way it is, because in the journey of learning and unlearning, you must make a mess. So I started by, okay, wash the meat and put it on fire. Okay, he knows how to on the gas. He does put water on the gas and all that. He has done that. We do those ones at 7. So when he turned 7, he had learned, put on the gas, put off the gas, all those ones. So he started. And that was how that boy made a full pot of okra soup for us. I think it was on Tuesday. 7-year-old. An operating manual. He had been seeing, he had been hearing, he had been experiencing, came to play. So what is the operating manual you're handing over, you're giving your children today with what you're planting, with what you're rooting, and probably not uprooting, or probably uprooting, right? So you have planted just like you are already planting just like you have been planted in the past. So your child will use those manuals to really lead their life, make decisions, inform their attitude, and every outcome that will come out of their life. That operating manual is going to have a huge role to play. So their decisions will come from the operating manual, their attitude, that attitude of empathy. Oh, my sister is not feeling well. Mommy is having conference. I need to go and help out. I need to start. That attitude of love, that attitude of independent thinking, that attitude, every attitude that you're planting will come to play. And it will become an outcome as the children are growing. So whatever you're going through now as an adult is as a result of a belief system that has happened to you. Whatever you're going through now is as a result of an operating manual that was given to you as a child. It is not your fault. It is not also the fault of your parents. They didn't know any better. Many speakers have said it in this conference. They didn't know any better. Today, you have an opportunity to learn. But young people like you are saying, leave that thing. 10 years from now, 5 years from now, depending on where the faces of their children now, they will be running helter-skelter and be saying things like, I didn't know, when God had already given them the opportunity to do better than what was done for them, to do a proper planting, to do a proper rooting, and to know the seeds, when to and when not to plant this seed. We are talking today and saying, oh, your little child of 3, your little child of 4, your little child of 5 should know this, should know that. At 3, at 4, they should do this. At 7, they should do this. The tribals know, I've said it over and again to them, that we have a lunch plan in my home, which is part of the things I'm teaching in the tribe. We have a lunch plan. At 10, there's certain things you should be doing. At 8, at 4, at 12, at 15, there are certain expectations, and the bar keep going higher. Do you just wake up and start setting bars when you have not set the bar for yourself? And you cannot be able to set the bar for yourself if you have not walked a journey of self-discovery. Because until you understand you, who are you? This is one question that I ask many people, many adults, parents, men, women, and they will, set aback a kind of and forth. It is not a question that I've asked and anybody just said, okay, apart from calling your name and introducing your name again, which is not what I'm asking. I'm asking about who is the authentic you? Who is that original you? And then the moment I ask those questions, I have seen, I can count in hundreds of people. The moment I ask, you make complaints and share things with me, and I ask you, who are you? That question doesn't come with free answer, flowing answer, sorry. The question comes with pause. Well, I am. That's because many of us are not yet in the place where we understand who we are. And then we have come into parenting and we have started raising children. And suddenly we want to understand our children. Suddenly we want to know, why is this child doing? Why is this one? Why is that one? You are asking all the whys because you yourself do not know yourself. This is where a lot of us get it wrong. And we keep living in denial. Oh, no, I understand. You don't understand. You cannot raise a child who will be authentic if you have not known you. And unfortunately, many of us are not living in our authenticity because our voices were shut as children. We didn't have a voice. We didn't even, we were masked. Mask, M-A-S-K. We were masked as children. Suddenly we have just grown and we want to unravel our own children from where? How? That's why the things we are planting us is so critical. The things we are rooting is so critical now. The things we are doing now is so critical because whether we like it or not, we are already handing over an operating manual for our children to run their own life with. Right? So it requires an inner work. And that inner work is part of the things we are doing in the tribe. If you come into the tribe, the first thing you're going to realize is it's not even about parents should do this, parents should not do this. Children should do this, children should not even do this. You will begin to see that the work is even you. The work is about you. It is you who have not even unraveled yourself. I know a parent in the tribe that is so dear to my heart. Anytime she speaks to me, she will say, all my life, so where have I been? With all these things I know, where have I been? It happened to all of us, even though in different degrees. I remember over 10, 12 years ago, when I was young in marriage, like maybe 3 years or 4 years in my marriage at the time, I remember taking a trauma test. And I had a 3%, and the test was telling us that if you had 3% down, you didn't struggle with childhood trauma, you were raised in an environment that was loving, friendly and all that. And I was glad. I was happy because I knew of a truth that I was raised in a stable Christian, awesome home by a father who was 1,000,000% available. He looks at you, he knows the next thing to tell you. My daddy can hug you 1,000,000 times in a minute. Kiss your forehead 1,000,000 times in a second. Kiss your chin 120 times. Tell you how your pointed nose is so beautiful and all of those affirmations and validation. We had all of those. However, I got into parenting and saw that I was struggling. I had a hyperactive child. And I'm like, what's wrong with this girl? Can't this girl sit one place? Can't this girl? I was complaining everywhere. This is someone who had a stable upbringing. How much more if your trauma test is saying 5, 7, 10, 15? These ones that require you to walk a journey of healing. You must have had deep-rooted issues that you did not even know were a thing at the time, and they are the things stalking you. They are the things limiting you. They are the beliefs that have programmed you, and you are now coming and working your own parenting from that belief system. Right? So you see, planting and rooting is not about a thing of good or bad. It is about wisdom. It is about knowledge. It is about understanding. Knowing that you cannot come into parenting and repeat the way we were raised 100%. There are morals we were raised with, good. We must take from those ones. There are things that we were raised with that we did not even know it was a thing that would limit us. We did not, even our parents, okay, for instance, growing up, we heard our parents say things like, "You're stupid." If you're able, you hear things like, "Unyala, unyenzuzu, ekwensu," this and that, all those kind of things. We heard them. It wasn't anything when we were children. They would throw everything at you and you run. It wasn't anything. But you grow today, and you're speaking the way the tribe parent that just spoke to us spoke, saying, "Oh, I'm seeing myself, building my self-confidence." She didn't know that 10 years ago or 5 years ago, I'm struggling with self-confidence. If you tell her 10 years ago you're struggling with self-confidence, she was like, "Oh, how? Why?" I had gone to the university, I had a first class, I'm this, I'm that, I'm working with this and that and that. And that's where we attach ourselves to hide under those things that we feel will boost our ego, not to do the inner work of who you are. Those things we are attaching to ourselves are not who we are. Who we are is the original you that was born with all the potentials that you were born with, that needs to fulfill purpose with those potentials, because the God that put those things know what he knew he needed us to use all those things. But at the cost of raising you, somebody said equinsu to you. Somebody said you will not amount to anything. Somebody said you heard it over and again. You're very stupid. You're very foolish. This and that. And you have gone as an adult and you're struggling with self-esteem. You don't even know that self-esteem is what is limiting you. You're struggling. You're fighting your spouse. You're quarreling every day. You're shouting every day. And you feel that it's because this person did this, this person did that. You don't even know that it's your esteem that is bridging and telling you, "My friend, go and sit down." These are the deep-rooted issues that we must continue to work, or we must begin a journey to work on before we understand what that means. Right? So, having understood this, sorry about this, my light is shaking. Having understood all of these backgrounds, we want to look at quickly, before we round up, 4 things that will help us understand what planting, rooting, and uprooting is about. Planting, uprooting, and rooting have its foundation on these 4 tenets I want to share with us. Number 1 is your child's experiences. What are your child's experiences daily in your home? What are your child's experiences? Yes, Ogonna, so much to learn. When you get into the system of raising another person, that's when you will know that you actually need knowledge. It happens to all of us, including myself. I struggled questioning a child or a toddler who didn't know anything, that just needed to be playing. What are the experiences? Whatever experience, remember I said, whatever experience your child is having today, you're already planting. You're already handing over the manual, operating manual. You're already giving it to the child. What are the experiences of your children? Are they experiencing a love-filled home? Are they experiencing a chaotic home? You're planting. Remember that this parenting is seed time and harvest time. No matter how you pray, if you plant corn, God will never because it doesn't breach process. God will never make your plant, your corn to turn to yam, turn to ugu leaf, turn to tomatoes. Never. Even though He's Almighty, He is a God of process. That process is that you put your seed of corn in the ground, it will grow and germinate corn. Simple. Simple. Ecclesiasticus 3:3. There is time for everything. Dear parents, if you do not understand that this time where you are raising these children, when these children are young, let's say example 0 to 7 that we have used as this developmental stage where you need to be involved, you need to be available, you need to be loving. Akochade said all of it in trying to help us parents understand how to maintain a healthy living that will help propel our children's developmental process. If you do not understand it, you will ruin your children no matter how you pray. You will slaughter them on the altar of ignorance, no matter how you pray. You see all those things we used to do, God will this, God will that. We will leave our own job and be taking God's job of protection, taking God's job of preserving our life. And then instead of us to do the work of parenting, we are pushing the work of parenting to God and taking God. It will not work. It will not work. That's why you see when things happen, we say, hey, their mother even and their parents, hey, very godly people, depending on what you call godly anyway. Very this, very that. God does not jump process. Your parenting process is that from 0 to minimum of 10, when the children are at that age, everything you give them is what they will give out. Verbatim. 0 to 10 is the time for programming. Unfortunately, that's when many of us are distracted, shouting, going up and down, looking for what is not looking for us. One of the coaches said in this conference, you're looking for the money that is not looking for you. Money. When you get the money and you have lost your children, what is the need for the money? What is the need for the money? So we must understand phases. We must understand seasons. We must understand times. There are many things I said to myself, Vivian, you're not going to get into that space where you want to struggle to do X, Y, Z, because in this phase, this is the priority. And I sat back. Intentionally sat back, and I am glad that God gave me that courage. I am happy that I was able to do it. And the ones it must take me away, take me this, take me that. My parenting partner at number 1. Your parenting partner number 1 is your spouse. I'll bring him in the page. You see this? We need this, so that these things can be done. And we have conversations about it. That's how you are able to unravel the things you need to do per season. You can't have toddlers and every invitation in, come to party this, you land. Every Owambe, you buy the Ashebi. But if they say, life begins from childhood, 3,000 naira. 3,000 naira. Coach David that spoke about drugs, he kept reminiscing it. He kept singing it. Parents, go for knowledge. Parents, go for knowledge. We can make excuses of 3,000, 5,000, 20,000, 50,000 a whole year for the Build a Home Tribe, 70,000 a whole year, but you pay hundreds of thousands in a school that you don't necessarily know whether what your child and your family value aligns even with what you're doing in that school. I tell people, forget the millions that we are calling. We are paying all the millions and billions in the city where I live. That's how to know that, the millions and billions that you pay in school doesn't make the school good or fit for your child. Quote me anywhere. It doesn't make the school fit for your child. You are just saying it for your own, for your ego, or for whatever it is you want to, use it for. Why? What will determine where your child should be, or a school where your child should actually study, is according to the child's potential, according to the child's, build up, general build up about the child, personality and everything. What the child needs, what you need to enhance in the child's life, and how it aligns with your family values, not because they are paying billions and millions. So you must understand the experiences of your children is the number one bedrock of what you're planting. Number two, the examples that you're giving to your children. The examples that you're giving to your children. If the examples your children are seeing every day does not match with the things you want them to actually achieve, you're already missing it. One of the coaches said to us in this conference, do you want your children to be better for themselves, or you want them to be better because of you? And I saw in the comments everybody was saying for themselves, for themselves, for themselves. So we must understand that this journey is a journey of examples. What are the examples the children are seeing? What are the examples they are seeing from uncles, from aunties? Who are they mirroring? Who are they mirroring? What are you showing them? There are people that I know that the moment you call their name, my children will jump at them, because these are people they admire, these are people they want to mirror, these are people they like. I hear it over and again. My daughter constantly talking about how mommy reads, mommy does this, mommy does that, daddy did this, daddy did that. In fact, so one of them was talking about the person that took one of the siblings' money in their colo, and he said, "Don't come and be doing calculation, no. Don't come and do calculation like that. You are not accountant." You know. So the examples you're seeing, your children are already, and ideally, you should be. If you must influence your child, you should be their number one hero. Everything you want them to see must be something you are portraying. Oh, I want my children to be very resilient. What is your resilience quotient? I want my children to be to be creative. What is your own creativity quotient? What have your children seen you create? I just shared a story of our 7-year-old telling me, "Mommy, go and focus on the conference. Let me face the kitchen." And I'm like, "Oh, wow." And from cutting okra, he made the soup. He knew that this thing mommy is doing, this thing mommy have created for the past 6 days, is something very crucial and important. So what are your children seeing you creating? If I want a thinking child, how do you think? Or are you still carrying the what's it called now? The belief systems that have programmed you in the past, and you are not able to switch out or switch off in your own authenticity. I want my children to love themselves, this and that, and all that. And then you bridge them, you stop them from fighting, you stop them from, no, don't do this, don't do this. Instead of teaching them and focusing on building skills, on how they can resolve issues. I tell parents, see, no matter, in a few days ago now, P Square have been trending, and this and that, the twins are doing this. I say, the truth is that we and the system that raised us actually empowers sibling rivalry. The examples that our parents portrayed actually empower the sibling rivalry we want to avoid, or we don't want it to happen to our children, but we're the ones empowering it as parents. The comparisons, the name calling, the shut up, the go and sit down, I don't have time now, and all the shouting, daddy this, daddy, everybody sees daddy, you run away because daddy is going to start this or start. All of those examples, all of those things that the children are seeing are actually the things that will empower them to those things you actually say you don't want. So the thing is not about the examples alone that they are going to be seeing. How are you empowering them to do the other side, which you want to see? Which of the skills have you brought out, for instance, in 2024? Oh, I need my children to walk through this journey and build this skill for themselves. Or if they are constantly fighting, it's okay for them to fight as siblings. It's okay for them to quarrel. It's okay for them to... However, you must teach them negotiation skills. You must teach them communication skills. You cannot just say, stop that, don't fight, or this one, you are the one looking for trouble. After you have created all those comparisons, they will get into sibling rivalry. No matter how you pray about it. But if you build them in the skills of negotiation, can you negotiate about this? Can you talk about this? You build them in the skill of communication. You build them in the skill of bargaining. You build them in the skills that will help them to think again. Then, when things come up, instead of them to start quarreling themselves and fighting and insulting themselves, they'll start negotiating. That's how to do it. Examples. I remember when I had two children, the older ones, because after them, I went back to school and the other ones came 4 years after, these other ones. So these other two ones that I stayed with, every minute was complaint. My brother did this, my brother took this, my sister did it, every time. And I'll call the first person who will come to report to me, okay, now that your brother did X, Y, Z, what do we do? Mommy, I don't know, you have to call him. No, mommy, I'm not going to call him to say, no, why did you do it to your brother? You will take up this negotiation. Can you go back to your brother and tell your brother, can we look at it again? Can we do this or like that or like that? And that was how they started talking, taking communication, building the skills around communications, and not just communication, effective communication. Sometimes I'll say, calm down. When he's not angry, we can address it. Sometimes I'll say, do you think your brother is... she will be the one to say, yes, my brother is angry now. It's okay, that's okay. You cannot talk to him now. We will take time, take a deep breath. And so when you hear them say things like, mommy will say, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. And then in as much as their children playing with all of those things, they're already building capacity for the operating manual you want them to use. Examples. Number 3 is the power of self-sense, the power of sense of self. Sense of self, that's what I call it. See, many times what we just keep doing is, I don't want this, I don't want this one, I don't want this. When we're growing up, the other thing happened, the other one did not happen, and this and that. You keep saying the things you don't want. Which one do you want? Are you saying the ones you want? The reason why we say the ones we don't want is because we have not even discovered that we are also struggling with something. So our sense of self is constantly diminishing. So we don't even understand that we are talking down on ourselves when we keep saying, I don't want my husband to, I don't want my wife to, I don't want my children to, I don't want. Which one do you want? So when I realized that it's trawl on the perception of self, I changed my pattern immediately. And that's what I teach the children all the time. Say what you want. Say what you want. There is power in speaking or in saying the things you want. There is power in it. So when I want to talk to the children, in order for us to plant well, in order for us to root it and uproot the one we do not want, I tell them, say it the way you want. Say it how you want it. And when they want to talk to us, they say, Daddy, I want that you do X, Y, Z like this. I feel the way you did it was not... I think a few days ago we had that kind of conversation, where I actually knew that what my husband said, the way he said it wasn't so proper. But because the children were there, while he was trying to make that correction, I also didn't, come in to say, hey, why will you say it? Why will you tell the children like that? And all that. My daughter came to me and said, but you know that Daddy was wrong the way he said that thing. I said, really? You feel like that? The next morning after morning prayer, okay, I told him, we'll address it. And we'll say it the way you want it to be said. And after morning prayer the next morning, that was the first thing she said, Daddy, I feel that the way you said this thing yesterday, even though I know you want to make a correction for us, however, the way you said it didn't go down well. I feel that you should have said it X, Y, Z. The Daddy looked at me, I looked at him. I said, when they left, I said, but I told you that the way you presented it, it was looking like you were tormenting them all, and that was it. Let's run, we are behind schedule. And finally, master the intangible things. Master the intangible things that can affect the tangible. Jesus said to us, love yourself, love your neighbor as you love yourself. It means that you will love yourself first. It means that you will love yourself first. If you don't love yourself, you cannot love another person. So no matter how you shout and jump, my children, my children, my children, you will still damage your children. Those are this coach. This last coach that spoke to us, Ocholi, just said it. You will damage your children. You can't love another person if you do not love yourself. I want my children to. I want to do this. I want to do that. Start from you. Start from you. You need to understand that the journey of planting, rooting, and uprooting is a journey of becoming. And in becoming more, you cannot just stay. You must be growing. You must be learning. You must be increasing. You must be expanding. How do you do that? It is through knowledge. The tribe parents know that we have access to any kind of thing, question, and anything we want to ask or find out while we're learning in the tribe. That's why we must constantly stay in the place where we are learning. So, if you're listening to me and you have not, joined the queue that want to be in the tribe in 2025, you may not get the meaning of planting, rooting, and uprooting in the journey of becoming, because you must understand the place of learning and unlearning and growing through the journey of this whole learning, right? So, if you're listening to me, we have made a lot of offers in this conference. One of those offers is this book, Life Begins from Childhood. We'll be giving out Life Begins from Childhood to parents that were early in this session. We have criteria shared already. We'll be giving out 10 slots to free registration slots to parents who were also part of that conversation within the 6 days, joining early and all of that. We'll be giving out books for our pre-teens and teenagers, for parents who also were met up that criteria, because we want you to be more. And in the journey of being more, you cannot be more if you're not learning. You cannot be more if you're not learning. Anyone that is learning, especially if you're joining the tribe, and you are not taking along other people who are around your life, you are neither here nor there, because the parenting partners are not just your spouse. Your school teachers, your children's school teachers are parenting partners. Your friends, your family friends, your neighbors. These are the people that your children are having constant conversations with. These are the people your children are learning with. These are the children are growing with. They will meet your children and thwart the things that you're doing because they don't understand what you're doing. They don't understand why you're saying the things you're saying and doing the things you're doing. Remember, you're on a journey of planting. You're on a journey of rooting. And the journey of uprooting the things that have been planted that you do not want to replicate. In this book I shared in chapter 4, Jola Grace said everything about chapter 4 yesterday. I was amazed. Self-awareness. A parent, that's my greatest quote. A parent who is not self-aware cannot raise an authentic child. That's the truth. So if you are in this journey and you are not constantly learning on how to become, learning on how to grow, we are living in a world that knowledge is your only deliverer, because a lot is happening, right? I'm being given timing that I'm behind schedule, or rather above my time. So we cannot finish every conversation or finish everything in this conference, or any webinar can take you, and that's where you stop and say, oh, I'm okay, I've learned a lot, and in this webinar, your children are growing on different developmental stages and in different phases. So you constantly need to match your knowledge with the level where your children are. So if you can hear me and you can see me, let me see your questions as we round up the theme. Be more, planting, rooting, and uprooting. And in this book, like I said something. The things we call generational curses, I have worked in this process and in this system over the past decade. Even before I became, I started working professionally. I walked the journey of marriage and parenting. It's one thing that, I took delight in very early, growing up. And I realized that all the things we shout about generational curses is patterns that nobody has taken taken the bold step to say, no, this is wrong, we need to change it. So with my own children, I started the journey even before they came and said, no, there are things I'm saying I want to change. I will not, no, this shouldn't repeat. So what are you changing? That's planting. What are you changing? That's uprooting. That's uprooting. That's uprooting. So I know there are things I will see today. I will say to myself, my grandchildren will come up tomorrow and see me and ask me, but grandma, in your time, what they were doing this. So why didn't you? And I'll be able to say, oh, I was able to do X, Y, Z to contribute to my own quota in my own time. So what are you ready to seek changes in from your own God-given graces and potentials that He gave you that you want to see tomorrow, that you were able to beat your chest and say, oh, I was able to plant this, I was able to root in for this, and I was able to uproot this one that I don't want to see. Thank you, Princess. So it is important that you don't just listen to this conference and listen and go. You have to listen and begin a journey. If you listen and go, you are neither here nor there, and the things you learn may even leave your head. Like the way Jane said it, we need accountability. It is in that accountability you continue to progress, you continue to learn, you continue to grow, and you continue to be more. Remember, I said it is a journey of becoming, and there's nothing like I have arrived here. You must continue to grow every day. Thank you, everybody who have listened to me. Who have listened to me in the past 1 hour plus. We have exceeded our time. No session should be more than 45 to 1 hour, 45 minutes to 1 hour, and we have exceeded ours. And I have a lot to share. However, not just in this conference. We're going to end 2024, the Proactive Parents Conference, so that we can begin another phase of a journey where the inner work begins, right? And do not stay away from our community. From this coming week, of course, our sessions will resume in the page, and our live webinars will resume. You're going to be learning a lot. Invite others to join you in this journey. 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, these babies you're carrying will be adults. What you're planting today is the operating manual they will use to run their life 10, 15, 20 years to come when they are already an adult, and even while they are children. Thank you so much for being part of this banquet of knowledge on this mountain, the Proactive Parents Conference. I honor you. I celebrate everyone who was part of this conversation. I celebrate you, everybody who contributed in one way or the other for the conference to be what it is. God bless you. I honor you, and I am great and privileged to have all of you on this pedestal of journey and learning together. Thank you again. I'm not seeing questions. I'm not able to see questions here because, okay, I'm seeing them now. But there's no questions per se. So we'll continue again in our platforms, in our different platforms in the academy. And again, I will remind you to register for the Build Your Home Tribe 2025. And if you want to be part of the people who the fee increment will not affect, please make sure you book in August. After August, the review is going to affect people who will book from September. Thank you so much. And while I wait for your questions, in 1 minute, let me know if what this session was for you. Hi. Can anyone still hear me? Let me know what the question is. Let me know what the aha moment is. Let me know what this session was for you. Thank you, Princess. I see you. Thank you so much. Let me know. And if I do not see any in the next 1 minute, I will be signing up from the Proactive Parents Conference 2024. God bless every one of us. The journey has just begun. I have always said it from the opening speech that the journey is a journey that will begin after the conference. The conference is just here to awaken our mind and awaken our thoughts to what is required of us. The journey proper is after the conference. Will begin a whole new phase of the journey of walking deep down into the deep-seated and deep-rooted issues, right? So thank you again, and we'll see you in our other platforms. The sessions will begin properly after my break in 2 weeks' time. The sessions on our pages and other webinars, other weekly webinars. I will be going on a break and to take some rest, and the sessions will begin proper after the break. So thank you again and again. But I will be available if you need anything, you want to confirm anything, you reach out to me through the WhatsApp line. The admin also will be available to also respond to you. God bless you as we sign out for 2024 Proactive Parents Conference.